Hello and welcome back. During this video we are going to discuss the final part of acceleration engine, DNS Express. Again, let's recap the idea of DNS Express. Simply, F5 Big IP DNS module will be used as a zone copier from a primary DNS server that existed in the internal data center. For example, I will use inside my lab this DNS server. We have this DNS server here inside internal data center. It's the primary DNS server that has the records inside its repository. I don't have any record here currently, okay? So by deploying DNS Express, I will copy, or I will ask for transferring all of these records existed here to my repository. So when the client wants to ask for a specific query, it will ask me, then I can give the answer directly to the client without getting back to the primary DNS server asking for the answer for this record, by doing something called zone transfer, IXFR. So this DNS server will transfer all the records inside its zones to this DNS server, which is Big IP DNS module, of course. Then this device can answer our client directly, and that's what we call DNS Express feature. To do this, firstly, we need to allow zone transfer on the level of the DNS server here. This is a Microsoft DNS server, so it's so simple to allow the zone transfer to a specific DNS servers or to all servers existed in the network. Here I need to define the name server that I will copy these records or these zones from, and once I finish, I need to declare the zone that will be used as express zone, and then we are going to test from our client reaching a specific records existed here, and also they are transferred to our Big IP DNS module. Let's jump into our lab directly. I will open F5 Big IP DNS module here. Let's go to DNS. The first thing that we need to do is to define our name server that we are going to copy its zones to our repositories to consider them a DNS Express zone. So here on delivery, name servers list, you can define your name server. Here you need to click on create to start creating a new name server. Let's give it a name. Let's change this one to be different from the nodes. So I will call it HQ DNS primary, for example. Then what's the IP address of this DNS server? Let's put the IP address of it, 192.168.10.20. And the service port is 53. If there is any TSIG key, it's the kind of authentication between you and the remote name server. There is no TSIG key here, so I will click on finish to add our name server as you see here. Then we need to create our zone. This zone will be filled with records that are copied or transferred from this name server through a feature called zone transfer or IXFR. So let's click on zones here and then zones list. Let's create a new zone. Here you need to give it a name, so I will name it the same name that existed on the rail or the primary DNS server, which is Microsoft. So I have there a zone called test.local. Again, this name must be matched to the name of the zone existed there on the primary DNS server. Under DNS Express, you need to choose the server. So I have here one DNS server called HQ DNS primary. The state is enabled, and then here the availability is unknown because we didn't save this configuration yet. After we save, you will find the IXFR is transferred successfully. Here there are some options we can tackle them another episode related to DNS Express, and they are related to DNS transferring methods. In fact, it's not related to DNS Express feature, so forget about this at the moment. We are going to get back to TSIG and allow notify from and all that stuff. And here on the zone transfer clients, if you have any DNS server or any other DNS servers that you want to transfer these records inside this zone to them, you can define them here. Okay, so again, what's the idea of zone transfer client? You told me that the DNS Express zone is a zone that will copy all the records from another DNS server, from another primary DNS server. So what is this transfer? This transfer is related to our zone itself. So our zone, our DNS Express zone, can transfer their records to other DNS servers. So it will get these results from another DNS server, and it can also transfer them to other DNS servers because it names that zone transfer clients. In my case, I don't have any DNS server that I can transfer those zones to. So I will click on finish here to start creating our zone. If I click the zone one more time, you will find here it's available and it's successful. AXFR means the zone is transferred successfully. So if I try to ask for a specific record from F5 DNS module, I will answer the client directly from my repository, not from the primary DNS server. Before we do testing, we need to get back to profiles to create a profile that supports DNS Express feature. So I will click on delivery and then profiles, then DNS, then let's create a new profile. I will name this profile DNS Express. The parent profile will be DNS, and here we need to enable the DNS Express. It's enabled by default, so I will not change anything. I'm showing you just the idea of creating a profile and enable the feature that you want to enable. So click on finish. I didn't change anything again. Okay, and here on delivery, on the load balance, on the listeners, GTM listeners and GTM listener list, we need to enable this profile. So click on the profile, and down below here we need to choose the DNS profile to support DNS Express. Then click on update, and then we can test our policy right now. So here I am on our client on the internet zone and needs to ask for a specific record that existed our primary DNS server Microsoft, and also it's copied or transferred through DNS Express feature to our F5 big IP DNS module. Let's ask for this record again, the same record that we are speaking about all the time. Okay, no problem. Let me ask for it again. Okay, I got the answer here. Let me test again one more time. So all of these answers are given from the big IP DNS module, not from the primary DNS server, because we are configuring DNS Express on the level of the listener. If we get back to F5 DNS module to see statistics related to DNS Express, let's open our zones here, test.local, click on statistics to see some statistics. As you see here, there are 4 queries and 4 responses related to this zone, which is an Express zone, of course. If I click on details here, view details, you will find for the DNS Express there are 4 queries and 4 responses. So the answer is given from the DNS module itself, not the primary one. And keep in mind, I didn't create any record in F5 DNS module, right? All the records are created on Microsoft DNS server. I just created the zone and enabled DNS Express feature on it to get all the records from the remote zone existed on DNS server or Microsoft DNS server. And as you see here, there are 25 records existed here on this DNS Express zone. 7 are related to a record, and there is one SOA, and there is one MX record. I have MX record there on this zone. And as you see, I transferred all the records from this zone, and I can answer the clients asking me about these records without getting back to the Microsoft DNS server to waste time. This is what we call DNS Express feature inside acceleration engine of F5 big IP DNS module.